Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Rogue Trader with me, Bring It On. Let's level up. Sure. Unyielding Guard upgrade 3. To the end of combat, all allies in a 3-cell radius around the Vanguard suffer less damage, based off your toughness. Amberworld. Sure. Until the end of combat, all toxin and burning effects from any source inflicted on the Executioner's enemies ignore their target's armor and deflection. The damage of all bleeding effects from any source inflicted on the Executioner's enemies is increased by additional 30%. Bella. Whenever Carnival of Misery is used, all enemies... Well, yeah, this one's still better. This one's still more circumstantial, and I'm not going to keep track of that, so I'm going to go with upgrade 1. Yeah, maybe this one. To the end of combat, the Archmilitant's attacks do not spend all MP. Oh, and additionally, each attack grants a stacking plus 5% bonus to dodge for 1 round. Actually seems pretty good. The Bounty Hunter gains agility bonus, movement points, and restores 3 charges of Hunt down the prey. You only have 3 charges to begin with. I'll give you more bonuses. Whenever the familiar becomes a target of an enemy's attack, the Overseer has their damage dealt increased by 2%. The effect stacks and lasts until the end of combat. Probably this one. Well, that seems pretty good too, especially since she's a sniper. So, not going to read it again, but it's the one we'll take. Argenta. Till the end of combat, every attack grants a stacking plus 2% bonus to critical hit chance. Why not? Same thing here. Upgrade 1. Pascal, probably deflection on you. I don't need to read that again because we've read that on Solomorn before. And Jai. We read that on my main character already, so not gonna bother doing it again. Explorators. Do ascending order. Holy gifts and heretic trophies. Do we have either? A Mechanicus creations. Net us a little bit. Alright, Invigorating Resolve. Whenever the wearer and allies in a 2-cell radius gain momentum, they also gain an equal amount of temporary wounds. The heavy plasma gun. They like their Xeno artifacts, don't they? Gory is sought after. I feel like provisions should also be up there. Only 100. Considering Footfall's current state. Castigating Gauntlets. These gauntlets grant the wearer plus 10% bonus to critical hit chance. This bonus doubles if the wearer has not moved during their turn. Interesting. In ascending order, armor is kind of sought after. Ship components also sought after. Yeah, so I have the profit factor for these guys. This actually seems pretty interesting, especially for Yrliet, who we try not to move anyway. I don't know, the Apex Predator's glove seems better. He does not have a... That's what I wanted to do too. Go through, make sure everybody has all equipment equipped. She doesn't have a helmet. We can correct that. What happened to her other helmet? Oh, it must have been taken off. I think we upgraded from this one. But to what? No, it doesn't matter. That's what she gets now. We have got to have a better weapon for her than this. It's called Power Blade. That's what. Oh, it's two-handed though. Dagnabbit. We just need an upgrade. A one-handed upgrade of any kind will do. Power Sword, 10 to 14. An axe, 12 to 19. A sword looks better, but... Alright, she gets an axe for now. So be it. She doesn't have a cloak. Free bleeding. Alright, that'll have to do. Not using plasma weapons, so that's not relevant. Let's throw that on. Probably better armor for her as well. Alright. At the very least, every equipment slot, besides like secondary weapon slots, has been filled across the party. I have an urgent message from Dargonus, Lord Captain. Our astropaths are receiving numerous transmissions. But no, these aren't ordinary messages. Each and every one is a plea for help. Dargonus is reporting a massive Xenos raid, and every mental image transmitted is wreathed in flame. The astropathic choirmaster is struggling to determine when exactly the invasion began, but all signs point to it happening shortly after your departure to the Cinerus Maleficum. Any delay condemns the world to even greater suffering. Your people are begging for immediate aid. Alright, well, we'll explore this and then we'll head back. Easy peasy. Instead of admiring themselves, mankind should direct their gaze to the world around them more often. That looked good, though.
What do we have here?
Celestial Eye. Requires Conviction Heretical, the wearer gains 0% hit chance and deals 0% more critical damage. Sculptor's masterful skill is evident in every little detail of your countenance. Alright, so that's from Sarah. A diffused explosive device created by inhuman hands and brought aboard the Von Vlance's ship by Xenos raiders. This hefty tome contains schematics of the flagship of House Von Valancius, in addition to a plethora of notes, copies of reports, and other documents. This majestic portrait painted by a skilled artist greets guests who have been granted permission to enter Lord Captain's quarters. The coat of arms of House Von Valancius is crowned with the text of the Oath of Rogue Traders, the Emperor's faithful servants. The Mask of Aurora, the prophet of the arch-enemy who foretold the final dawn on foretold the final dawn on Raikai Minoris. The stuffed corpse of a Slith, a bizarre Xenobeast that was once in the service of the Jukari. The hideous head of a steel devil destroyed by the rogue trader aboard the corrupted void ship. A fascinating, delicately smelling flower from the Agrworld Yanis is but one symbol of the rescue of the planet from the clutches of Chaos worshippers. Taking careful steps, almost without a sound, Yrliet examines the study's interior, raising her brows in surprise and muttering something to herself in the Eldari tongue. Why are you in my chambers? And uninvited at that. Yrliet turns to you. But why are you asking me this, Alantok? Is this place forbidden? On my craft world, we all held to a simple custom. You may set your foot wherever your path requires. Sacred ground was the only exception to this rule. Is there something sacred in this room, Alantok? Yrliet looks around the room. I do not think so. How did you manage to slip past the enforcers? You know I avoid your kin and their obsessive attention. It was fairly easy to distract a couple of mankind slip past them. Meeting your eyes, Yrliet nods in understanding. I suppose this is not pleasant news to hear. You do understand how suspicious this looks, yes? Only in your eyes, Alantok. But knowing how fearful and mistrustful your species is, I suppose I should have foreseen such a reaction. For humans, trespassing is akin to an insult. Did I ever think I would encounter this again after Cruderrock? Yrliet laughed sorrowfully. Stiff, meaningless rules, a condemnation for overstepping lifeless boundaries, weighed so heavily upon me, back then. But is your entire world contained within this tiny metal cage, Elentok? Your ship, these chambers, they are but a speck of dust, an island. A temporary shelter in a world that is far bigger and more expansive than... well, enough of that. Now that you are here, I wish to speak with you about our agreement. I have traveled through the Veil many times inside your steel-winged bird, and every time her voice torments me, try to drive me mad. Yrliet stares through you, unconsciously touching the spirit stone on her chest with a trembling hand. Her whispers from my ears each time I enter the warp, inescapable and incessant, poisoning and inflaming every single emotion and thought, making them uncontrollable. I have learned to shut myself off, as best I can, just so that I might have the chance to search for what I have lost. And we have managed to find some of the children of Cruderrock, plan to bear witness to their horrifying fate. Yrliet half closes her eyes. I think that every step I take to discover Cruderrock's fate brings nothing but doom to my brothers and sisters. And still, I ask you not to stop. With every cycle, those still hidden in the darkness of the cosmos draw closer to their demise and obscurity. Out of all the Monkai I have met, I thought that you Elentok, might be able to understand me and my pain. I was not wrong to think so, was I? For a moment, a sad smile flickers on Yrliet's face, and her voice rings with agonizing doubt. No matter what, you try to keep your promise. Even if your species loves to stamp out any life form they find undesirable. I remember our agreement, and will fulfill it, just as I promised. Yrliet gives you a barely visible nod. Her face is clouded with emotion, but you cannot read her expression. Your words, Elentok. There's something that still gives me hope. Yrliet's words are interrupted by a strange sound similar to a stifled sigh, her gaze trained upon something past you. Turning around, you see what has caught her attention. An odd, unsightly shard of porous metal, mounted on the wall like a trophy. An entire kaleidoscope of emotions plays across her face, changing too quickly to catch. She sighs once more, and her feelings are concealed behind an impenetrable, impersonal mask. What is this, Monkai? Yrliet's voice sounds unusually cold. Examine the trophy on the wall. The strange shard has been there since at least the day of your ascension to the Rogue Trader's throne. Looking closely, an odd thought nags at your mind. It may be disfigured and corroded by some unknown power, but it vaguely resembles Wraithbone, a material crafted by the Eldari. Is it a piece of something Eldari? Do you not even care enough to know what objects adorn your dwelling? Truly. Yrliet lets out a thin, sorrowful sound that cuts herself short, going as still as a statue. Enough. I've lingered here too long. From now on, I will avoid entering places you would prefer to keep hidden from me. Yrliet's lithe form stands frozen in a natural pose amid the blinking lumens and dancing shadows of the bridge. Her hands are clasped together strangely, and her eyes are all tightly closed. Her chest is utterly still, as if she is not breathing at all. This is new. Your words are met with deafening silence, but the flicker of Yrliet's eyes beneath her closed lids lets you know that she's still alive, at least. Have I done something to offend you? For the first time, Yrliet takes a deep breath through her nose, and barely audibly exhales. Her body remains as relaxed as ever, and her eyes are still closed. Your presence does not seem to be in any way distracting for her. This is the meditation you told me about, isn't it? Yrliet's face remains impassive, almost serene. The only movement comes from her hands, which intertwine smoothly, forming a new intricate gesture. She still does not hear your words, or is choosing to ignore them. Wave your hand in front of her face. No matter how hard you try to get Yrliet's attention, There's no change in her posture, facial expression, or barely there breathing. The only movement comes from her narrow fingers fluidly moving from one strange gesture to another. Recite a poem of your own devising. Even as Xenos cannot ignore such terrible verse. You notice a subtle change in Yrliet's appearance. The shadows on her face have deepened, and her breathing has become heavier. However, she's still in a state you do not understand. It seems she's not going to respond to you. I have no other choice, so the Medicae crew take care of you.
By the light of the stars, monkey! You are more bothersome than the harrying swarms of bloodsuckers in the Lilithan's forests. Speak. What do you want?
Yrliet's eyes snap open, every trace of serenity banished from her face. Gosh, we're so dense. You were deep in a special Eldari meditation, weren't you?
Yes. I am sometimes surprised by the depth of your knowledge of my kind's customs, Alantark. But even if listening is your only skill, that in itself elevates you above billions of other monkey.
Yrliet arches her delicate brows.
My meditation is immersion. Immersion into myself, my inner world. It is my chance to speak to myself, but without words, or to heal wounds that cannot be seen with ordinary sight. It is difficult to explain, even in the language of the children of Asurian. There are so many meanings and shades in its sound alone, and the monkey tongue is too sparse and awkward. No. Immersion must be seen to be realized.
Yrliet frowns uncertainly.
I should say, Alantark, that during meditation, the mind does not leave the body. Part of it remains vigilant, monitoring what is taking place outside. So I heard every word you said, and I saw everything you did.
Yrliet lets her eyes fall half closed, giving herself over to memories while still watching you.
I am disappointed by your lack of restraint, I will admit. Every day, you become more primitive, more like other monkey. Do not allow your bestial nature to win out. I can see that there is more to you than that.
Could you not have answered immediately?
If I could have, do you think I would have abided your irrational behavior?
So you knew I was there the whole time, and you'd not even bat an eye.
Immersion requires concentration and unity of mind, body, and spirit. Entering this state unprepared, or coming out of it suddenly, can be harmful.
We have pressing matters to discuss. Yrliet nods wordlessly. Alright, I'm out of here. I was just joking. Just joshing around.
Take heed, Nemo. Our blessed Domit. I'm here. What? But
Oh, no, sorry. I'm trying to back out here.
take heed.
Alright, there we go. Alright, let's explore the system. That's what we came here for. Seven Plasteel. Hot dog. Wasteland Wayfarer. I think this is where we fight the Gene Stealers, right? I'm probably wrong about that. That sounds right. Not explored. A small planet gently wrapped in amber forest greets you with the ruby-colored dawn. Basil von dem Klerch, the local governor, gives the rogue trader a warm welcome. After several glasses of Damascene, the sweltering ruler asks if Donnie Dawson von Valancius will like to keep him company during the upcoming hunt. Accept the offer. After several hours of riding the local peculiar animals, you make camp in the middle of a golden forest. Basil von dem Klerch points at the sky. A flat disk rises over the horizon, constantly morphing its color and shape. The forest grows silent and empty. You can no longer hear the singing of birds or even the rustle of wind. The governor nods with satisfaction, and a few shapes step into the clearing. Their bodies are twisted by an unknown phenomenon, and you watch the freaks with astonishment as they begin to dance to the throaty cackling of their brethren, turning the bony growths and pulsating flesh of their scaly hands toward the unnatural thing in the sky. Ask the governor what is going on. The governor smiles coyly. You're about to see with your own eyes what is happening here. Order your men to eliminate the mutants. Having armed themselves with flamers and chainswords, your party cleared out several acres of nearby forest. The scouts report destroying several villages inhabited by heretical entities. Basil von dem Klerch excitedly explains that the creatures you saw are the children of the great king of distortion. It is he who is the true god and patron of these fertile grounds. Once every cycle, his chariot shines its light upon the world and bestows transformations upon his most ardent followers. The rogue trader may become one of his heralds. Execute the governor on the spot. The governor's head separates from his neck with a distinctive squelch. Black and brown blood seeps into the soil beneath his corpulent body and is immediately transformed into a writhing tangle of worms that burrow deep into the ground with unnatural speed. Return to the ship pondering what to do with the world, and more importantly, what to do with the King of Distortion. Order that the crew chart a course to the anomaly known as the King of Distortion. The senior officers observe suspicious activity emanating from the twisted celestial body at the heart of the system. The chaplain advises you to get ready for a potential encounter with the spawn of the arch-enemy, so it may be wise to reconsider unless you have holy relics, sacred wards, or blessed effigies of the Emperor. Aflame with a plethora of colors, the distorted celestial disk trembles slightly beyond the endless windows on the captain's bridge as the rogue trader's ship approaches its center. An otherworldly voice, cold and enveloping, enters your mind. What could this puny wretch possibly offer a king? The officers on the bridge look around perplexed. Their eyes are full of terror and confusion. Many clutch their heads and let out a long howls of pain. Some empty their stomachs. But most, pale and exhausted though they are, have joined the Lord Captain in resisting the entity's influence. Ask who you are talking to. An endless flow of images fills your consciousness. You see horrifying scenes of millions of tortured souls. Their screams rend your mind. Their pain pierces you with 1,000 red-hot needles. King, ruler, the one who is obeyed. That's all you can make sense of, although you see much more. Command the entity to release the minds of the Amberworlders from its grip. The king's mocking laughter rings in your ears, and a deep red trickle runs slowly from your nose and over your lips, leaving an aftertaste of salt and metal. Attack the entity with every cannon on board. How dare you disturb the king with trifles? The entity is furious, and you feel a gust of invisible wind blow 1,000 blades right through your ship. Officers are collapsing at your feet, choking, and hundreds of casualties are being reported from every deck. A resonant silence descends on the ship, and a bright flash stuns you for what could be any length of time. Put us all the way down here. not sure if that counts against our time for getting to Dargonus. Abandoned camp. But did we just not do this before? Oh. I'll take that. Fortification Protocol. The Silver Skull Swarm gains 15 Fellowship and Intelligence, 50% Dodge, and 1 Deflection. Silver Skull Swarm becomes a priority target for enemies in a 4-cell radius. Whenever it is hit, incoming damage is reduced by a Fellowship bonus, and its armor is increased by percentage. Lasts to the end of the round, and it stacks. Sounds like an upgrade to me. The ship's augers have detected and explored our base set up in the middle of the jungle. Enforcers sent to scout the area have returned, reporting that the camp is completely deserted, and the only tech priest they encountered was found dead on the edge of a strange abyss that had split the planet's surface. Judging by the notes left behind at the camp, he had pushed all his companions into the abyss, one after another, remained forever motionless at the brink, waiting for tidings. As the tech priest fell into the deathly trance, Silver Skulls guarded him until the end, but could not save their master from dehydration. Oh, we've been here. Never mind. Alright, so probably going to call it here. Next time we're going to make our way to Dargonus, stop the Drukhari attack on our homeworld. Then we're going to head back to Lytaribum Maledicta to explore that other planet. And then we're going to head back down here and try and make it to Calva Gamma. So we've got a plan, a lot of warp jumps, probably a lot of random encounters. I guess we can try this one again. This is Uncharted. I'll give it another shot. Though I thought we tried again and it already told us no. Oh well. We shall see. But out of the way for now, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you guys in the next one.